Alright, so you clicked on this video because you'd like to shoot YouTube videos on your smartphone. Well, luckily for you, I'm going to be shooting this entire video using my iPhone. Now, just a quick disclaimer, you don't need the latest iPhone or the latest Android to shoot high quality YouTube videos. All you need to do is bear in mind a couple of settings and have the right tools. Now, what I'll be going over on in this video is lighting, tools I'll be using, camera setup, and audio. Now you might be wondering, why would you want to use your phone instead of a camera for shooting YouTube videos? And I'll give you some reasons right now. So ideally, this video is aimed for persons who want to start their YouTube journey but don't want to spend a bunch of cash on camera gear and expensive camera equipment. The thing is, most of us already own smartphones, so it's pretty easy for you to just start using your phone to start a YouTube journey. And funny enough, a lot of successful YouTubers actually use their smartphone in the beginning, and even up to now, there's still a lot of YouTubers with like millions of followers that only use their smartphone. So that's one reason why you could actually start using your iPhone, which you probably already own right now. So in terms of minimum specs that you're looking for when you want to shoot on a smartphone, I'd say once you have a phone that shoots, 4K video, you'd probably be okay. Now the truth is, when smartphones say 4K, it's not going to be the same 4K that you're getting from a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, but most times when they offer 4K, it's going to be decent. So in my experience, I've owned, iPhones from around iPhone 8 to, the iPhone X and iPhone 11. Now I currently have an iPhone 15. Anything from the iPhone X is pretty good. In fact, some of the shots from this video will be supplemented from my iPhone X. So I'd say that would probably be a minimum. For like a Samsung series, that's going to be anything from maybe like an S8, an S9. All I'm basically trying to say is you don't need the latest quality phone. If you have a phone from 5 years ago, you should still be okay in terms of getting like good quality content. So don't be obsessed with the latest gear. Just try to have something that isn't probably the oldest. If your phone came out in 2018 or 2017, it's probably still good enough to get very good quality videos and to kick off your YouTube journey. So first we're going to talk about tools that I'm using to shoot this video. So the first piece of gear I'm going to advise you to get if you want to shoot videos on your phone is some kind of audio gear. So what I'm using on my smartphone right now is the Hollyland Lark Max. That is a microphone kit that comes with a transmitter, a receiver, and a bunch of different cables that you can use to connect it, whether to an Android device, to your computer, or whatever you're going to be using to record audio. But pretty much you connect it to your phone and you use the microphone. I have the microphone attached to me right now, and it sends the audio directly to your phone, so that way you can get good quality audio. So no matter how far away I go, even behind this tree, you guys can still hear me. And that is going to be, even though all these things I'm telling you about, they're important, but I think audio is probably going to be the main thing you're going to need when you're going to want to shoot videos on your phone, because camera phone audio is going to be very bad, especially when you're not right next to your phone. So because you're going to want to get different angles, different perspectives, different variations, you're going to want to invest in some kind of microphone. Once you get a microphone out of the way, if you're not using maybe a super up-to-date smartphone, you're also going to want to get some kind of stabilization equipment. For me right now, I'm using a GorillaPod. I actually own smartphone gimbals as well as a really large tripod, but I wanted to kind of show you guys that you don't need the most expensive gear, so I didn't bring my big tripod. In fact, I'm only using a GorillaPod right now, which let me see if I can actually take a video and include this in the actual video. So this is what I'm currently shooting this on. So yeah, like nothing advanced, nothing expensive. A GorillaPod is just basically a mini tripod, and the benefit of the GorillaPod is that because it has like some little bendable balls on it, it's like you can put it in very unique places to get some unique perspectives. So that's why I use that instead of using a regular tripod, because a regular tripod is great for specific shots, but this can come in a lot of like unique scenarios and like different angles. So if you do have a smartphone that has stabilization, I'd also advise for you to turn on stabilization on your phone. What's really amazing about the iPhones or the modern iPhones is that they have stabilization inside, so you can actually hold your phone barehanded and get some really nice shots even though you don't have like a stabilizer or anything. So get some kind of stabilization equipment if your smartphone doesn't have it, and even if your smartphone does have stabilization, it's also good to have a tripod or a gimbal of some sort. But you don't need the most expensive tripod, you just need something that's going to keep your phone upright and safe. Also, I'm using a cage around my phone. The reason why I'm using the cage is so I can mount the microphone on the camera without having anything else getting in the way. Also, if I wanted to maybe add like a light or any other accessories. A cage is just basically something that, one, protects your smartphone, but two, also gives you like additional spots to mount items. So your smartphone doesn't attach to a tripod naturally. So when you add a cage, now you can attach it to a tripod, you can add more lights, you can add microphones, you can add all kinds of accessories. So a good investment, as I'd say, cage, some kind of stabilization, where that's going to be your tripod, gorilla pod, and a microphone. That's all I'm using for this video. And I'm also using a second iPhone as a backup angle, but nothing crazy, nothing super expensive. I'll leave links to all the items I'm using below in the description. So now we're going to talk about setting up your phone. As I said before, I'm currently using the iPhone 15 Pro Max, but these settings will apply to most smartphones. If you don't have an iPhone, just look for the appropriate settings on your phone. So when I'm shooting on my smartphone, actually, let me go ahead and screen record, just so I have that to show you guys. All right, so I'm choosing on my smartphone. I'm going to turn on stabilization. If it has it, if your phone doesn't have it, that's fine. Just focus on using your tripod or your gimbal or whatever to keep your phone stable. Next thing I want to do is I want to turn on framing and composition settings if I have any. So for me, what I like to use is the rule of thirds, which is going to be 2 lines going vertically across the screen and 2 lines going horizontally. That is going to divide your frame into basically 3 rows going down and 3 rows going across. And that helps you to get like ideal framing situations. I'm not going to like explain the rule of thirds or composition, but this just helps you to keep your frame, aligned and to get, interesting compositions. So if you're using a modern day smartphone, you're going to want to put your camera on 4K. So that way you can get the highest quality camera footage outside of your smartphone. If you are doing like action shots where you're doing lots of like movements and you might want to slow down your clips, you can also use 4K 60. Or if your phone does not shoot 4K, you can use 1080p 60, or you can use 1080p 120 frames per second for slow motion. My phone shoots 4K 30, and actually my phone shoots 4K 60 as well. And it also has 1080 up to 240 frames per second. So I can get some super slow-mo shots and I can get some, nice regular shots. When you're doing, lots of movement, high energy activities, you want to use higher frame rates so that you can slow down your footage in post. And if you're just doing regular talking head shots, then you can shoot everything at 24 frames per second and try to go for the highest quality resolution, which in my case, that's going to be 4K. So now I want to touch on lighting. So quick disclaimer, if you are using your smartphone to shoot videos, you're going to want to get the best possible lighting, especially given the fact that smartphones are not low light friendly. So the first piece of advice I'm going to give to you is, if you're shooting your videos indoor, try to find some kind of window light, whether that's a bulb, anything that's going to enhance the brightness of your videos, because smartphones hate darkness. Next advice I'm going to give to you is shoot most of your videos outdoors. When you're using outdoors, it's going to be a lot easier for you to use your phone because you're going to have the sun. Now, how you use the sun to the best of your abilities is you're going to want to find out what time of day is going to give you the best possible sunlight, which is usually sunrise, sunset, or if you're in shadier areas, whenever the sun isn't too high up or above your head. So, later afternoons or early mornings, it doesn't have to be sunrise and sunset all the time. We just want to have it in a spot where you're getting, adequate lighting for your face and not directly over your head. So getting as good possible lighting is going to help you a lot with your shots. You can also learn about stuff like, lighting patterns, and what's going to help to make your shots look more quote unquote cinematic. This is not going to be a lighting tutorial, but the best advice I can give to you is to just use the sun as your friend. The sun is your friend. Shoot alongside the sun, not against it, especially when you're not going to be using big lights. I'm assuming if you're using your smartphone, you probably don't have the budget for an expensive light. So just use the sun as your best friend. There's an app called Sunseeker. If I have another app, I'll link it below in the description. But those apps will help you to know when is the best time, and just see how the sun looks, at the particular spot that you're shooting, so you know what you're getting before you start shooting. I cannot stress it enough. They don't like darkness. They really don't. And now we're gonna touch on audio. So audio is, I want to say, the most important, but also one of the simplest solutions to fix when you're using your smartphone. As I mentioned previously, I'm using the Hollyland Lark Max, which is a wireless microphone and transmitter that all you have to do is connect it to your smartphone, and it takes care of most, if not all, of your audio concerns. The beauty of microphones right now with smartphones is that Most of them are just plug and play. So honestly, you just plug them into your phone, whether that's your iPhone or your Android, and it takes care of most of your audio work. No, I can't go into detail and give you like general advice for audio, but honestly, for I want to say 8 out of 10 people, just adding a microphone to your smartphone is going to make your audio quality so much better, to the point where you probably need to do nothing else. But if I can give you some general pieces of advice, is try to record in a quiet area. Try to avoid shouting into your microphone, but on average, I'm assuming that you're not shouting when you're doing your content. If you're using a microphone system, then it doesn't matter how far away you go from your smartphone, everyone will still be able to hear you. In post, you can always edit your audio. Just adding a microphone makes so much of a difference for a majority of people that honestly you probably don't need to do anything else. So I won't even stress audio too much. All right, so to summarize everything we spoke about, if you're using your smartphone to shoot YouTube videos, all you have to do is make sure you're using the highest quality settings. That's gonna be 4K 24 frames per second for your regular talking headshots. And that's also gonna be 1080p, 120 frames or 60 frames per second if your phone doesn't have 4K 60. Make sure that you're getting good quality lighting by shooting at the right times of day. Make sure that you're using good quality audio gear so that people can hear what you're saying. And to ensure that you're properly stabilizing your camera by using a gimbal, a tripod, or a GorillaPod, whatever that you have available to you. It's not hard to use your smartphone. You don't need to buy an expensive camera. You can always start off with YouTube using your smartphone and work your way up. And it's an easy way to actually get into the mind frame of actually shooting YouTube videos. So if you enjoyed this video, YouTube algorithm says you're gonna love this video right here. If you have any questions about shooting on your smartphone, let me know down below in the comments.